On the public side, it's bottom up. They go out to the university people and say, what are the areas we need to be operating in? Faculty, tell us, come submit proposals, vote, give us your input. And so they reach out to the faculty members and the experts and channel these ideas up and get the winners. So it's bottom up, top down, side by side, parallel effort. The goal is to get the best of both worlds. And to help illustrate this, I want to do a quick little demonstration. Because I think this is one of the, I asked Dr. Sang-Tae Kim, who learned so much from Singapore and what they're crafting here. He was the VP at Eli Lilly that came and helped set up the Lilly Discovery Center for new drugs right here in Biopolis. And he has learned much from Singapore, and he said it really played a role in guiding them and creating this fascinating new system in Wisconsin. And I asked him, do you have any advice for the people back here and at A-Star? And he said, one thing you might want to consider is strengthening this bottom-up component. The top-down is very strong. You've got the vision, you've got the leadership, you have the goals and criteria, but there's also something to be gained by this more democratic approach. And in the talk this morning from Dr. Hayden, I was very glad to hear a reference to the strength of a democratic approach in innovation, because there's much to be gained there. So I want to illustrate this by using a strip of newspaper as a concept. And this is actually from a Chinese newspaper, and I found one that has the words, if I read these correctly, I think that's Obama, which is Obama. So that is the top. In the United States, that is the top, okay? We have a system, though, where the people vote. So we have this bottom down, but you have certainly have top down and bottom up going on at the same time. Well, in a corporation or in a university or in an organization of any kind, you have both elements. You have the people at the bench, you've got the people at the top. How effectively are they connected? How effectively are they communicating? Well, if I were to take this and cut it into two pieces, you would see we'd have a problem. I mean, this is what happens in real life. I'll just cut it right here in the middle. In real life, institutions tend to get split apart. There's poor communication between the top and the bottom. And the people at the top only hear what their direct reports are telling them, and the people at the bottom never talk to the top. Normally, that will cause an organization to split in two. But if you're very good, you can hold together and keep things intact. Now, let me show you that again, because we're going to cut a little piece out of this. You know, in an institution, you have to make cuts sometimes. You have to make changes that people don't like. But are you holding together when you do that? The answer is, it can be done. Now, this process is about having a resilient organization, one that can respond to change. When the change comes, you still have good communication from the top to the bottom. You see here, here's Obama talking to the people at the bottom. There's good communication. If you have that kind of contact, where the people at the top are in touch with the innovators throughout the organization, you hear the voice of the innovator. That kind of flow, where you have both top down and bottom up, can give you a resilient organization that can withstand multiple cuts and still hold together just fine. This is the key to success. However, when you do this, it's important to still have vision. You have to hold to that vision and keep alignment. We have good alignment here. See how things are lined up? But sometimes things happen that destroy the alignment. If there are people that are greedy, pursuing individual goals and not the corporate good, you can get out of alignment, and then your organization can be bent out of shape. If you're not aligned, you're skewed. Think about it. Okay. Well, when that happens, you need to make some more cuts and fix things and get everybody back on the same page and keep that organization aligned, straight, and successful for a resilient organization. So thank you. So that's just an illustration from my little hobby of amateur magic of what can be done, how you need to have that top and bottom together, and people at the top have to be in tune with the people at the bottom. The voice of the innovator has to be heard for successful innovation. So let me just quickly run through a couple of things. These institutes, the institute goes into full operation December of 2010, and it's an experiment to bring together the best of both worlds with that top-down, bottom-up approach, cross-disciplinary, world-class, and inspired by what has been achieved in Singapore. Dr. Sang-Tae Kim, with experience in Singapore, he is the leader of the Mortgage Institute. Dr. John Wiley, the former chancellor of UW-Madison, he is the leader currently, just for about another year, interim, of the public arm, Wisconsin Institute for Discovery. They are working together, and they've identified several major areas. And a big part of this is the location. They're surrounded in the center, just like Biopolis is here. They have the engineering college, computer science, chemistry, biotechnology, biochemistry all around them. The medical school and the hospital are also nearby. Here's a bonus secret weapon that UW-Madison has. They have a GMP certified manufacturing facility that can make FDA-approved drugs for clinical trials right there on the campus. They can go from the bench top to the clinical trials and then to the hospital and actual human results on campus without having to go through third parties. And that's going to be a very exciting thing for drug discovery. The building itself is very exciting. I could talk for hours about what's going on in there and the green technologies being used and how it's designed to force people to collaborate and yet still provide the individual needs. It's a huge building and it's just monumental. The teams are looking at epigenetics, how genes are activated, led by Dr. John Denyu, tissue engineering, led by Li-Sheng Tern, and health technology design, optimization of biology and medicine. These are all pretty exciting areas. And systems biology, I'm especially excited about this because Dr. John Yin is the PhD advisor of my son, who is at UW-Madison, is just loving the chemical engineering program. The mortgage platforms are related. Oops, go back. We have James Thompson. Many of you have maybe seen him. One of the biggest names in stem cells, called the father of stem cells at UW-Madison. We have virology, high-throughput computing to handle massive, large projects with tons of data, biomedical instrumentation led by the person who founded tomotherapy, Professor Thomas Mackey, and pharmaceutical informatics led by Sante Kim himself, who many of you know. Interacting with many disciplines is part of this. Art, music, similar to Fusionopolis, are going to be a big part of what's happening there. And the institutes will also be used to foster scientific education for the community. One thing you have to mention, when you have top-down only, as is being done in the Mortgage Institute, there's a chance that large companies and firms can dominate the thinking, and sometimes it's maybe difficult to be nimble. There can be excessive demands on those at the top, which is why you want to have the best people at the top, and I think both places do. But, I'm going to skip over these slides. The goal, though, is you can strengthen your collaborative or your targeted innovation in these kind of situations by having the right feedback loops, getting back to that idea of being in touch with the voice of the innovator. And I'm going to skip through that. This is in the book, Step on the Horn of Innovation, interesting alternative pathway. Both institutions face some similar challenges. How to properly identify disruptive innovation and deal with it, how to make sure you really realize and properly measure returns on investment. It's not all about dollars. You need to quantify it, though, for leaders who care about the dollars. And the U.S. has some specific challenges with laws and other barriers that affect university-industry collaboration that largely are being solved with this environment being created. Some of the institute's model is novel, and there's some risk. Novelty always brings risk, but they're it's very exciting what success might occur. And the two have learned from each other. The institutes in Wisconsin have learned from the example of Singapore, including the personal observations of Dr. Sante Kim. And Singapore, keep your eyes on Wisconsin and learn what's going on there. You may find that some of their bottom-up aspects, this gets into how they hire people and how they decide what areas to focus on the public side, may help you capture some additional opportunities. And I'd like again to point out the Bucky Badger and the Merlion, two symbols of distant parts of the globe, both pursuing related pathways, where I think the world should be looking to Singapore, maybe even Wisconsin, for future successes and innovation. I'd like to thank many people who helped and information for this presentation. Gunswan Fu and Sito Wei Bing, Sante Kim, John Wiley, Jen Kelly, Charles Hosted, Carl Goldbranson of WARF, and Dr. Z. And also thanks to A-Star, Exploit, WARF, and the Wisconsin Institutes for Discovery. And to my co-authors, Cheryl Perkins and Mukund Karanjikar, and attempting to write a little Chinese and see what I say, 新加坡万岁. And I would also say, 美国新加坡友谊万岁. So thank you.